welcome. My name is Tessa, and today we're going to be doing a yoga sequence for a strong core. Let's go ahead and get started. So we are going to start in a nice wide-legged forward bend. So go ahead and separate your feet wider than hip distance apart. I want you to feel really solid through your feet, rooting down through the feet, and just bringing our awareness more into our body. So rooting down through our feet, go ahead and lift through those thighs, tucking the tailbone in, and I'd like you to become more aware of your core, really just drawing in those core muscles. So really like bringing them in towards your spine. And go ahead and just relax those shoulders and lengthen through the crown of your head, keeping those knees nice and soft, and just really bringing our attention into our body more. And feeling that just connection to our core as we move through these different poses. And go ahead and hinge at the hips. We're going to come and do a nice stretch for our hamstrings and our calves. You can bend those knees slightly to start and just sliding those arms, those hands down the legs, and taking our time today. So feeling rooted through our feet, I'd like you to just gently go ahead and bend one knee at a time, straightening the opposite leg partially or all the way, but moving nice and slow, never jamming the knee back. And go ahead and just let that head hang as much as you can. Notice any tightening in the abdomen, just relax your abdomen. So a strong core doesn't mean tension in the stomach, it just means strength. Keeping our breath nice and fluid as we move into some core strengtheners. And go ahead and just come into a more still position with the knees. Soft bend in the knees if you need to, and just breathing into the backs of the legs. And go ahead and press through the feet, coming back up. And I'd like you to just angle your feet, so feeling a little pigeon-toed, and we're going to come into a squat position, opening up the hips a little bit before we move into some more challenging poses. So just nice and slow, go ahead and start to sink down through your hips and just start to really sink those hips down. And if you can, sink the heels down as well, and come into prayer position if you'd like for a deeper opening, or you can just bring your hands on the floor if you need to for balance. And just letting those heels sink down, you might start to notice more tightness in one hip, and just really breathing into that tightness and just softening around anything that's coming up. And relax those shoulders, relax the face. For me, it's definitely my left hip, just always feeling more tension there. And just nice and slow, go ahead and you can just come on back, and we are going to actually come into a reclined position. We're going to start with some leg lifts. Go ahead and just come onto your back. So I really like to stretch the hamstrings and the calves a little bit before these leg lifts, just to make it feel a little better. Go ahead and just bring those legs overhead, forming a 90-degree angle if you can with your legs. If not, that's okay, because there might be some tightness in those hamstrings or calves. Just straighten your legs wherever you can. And I'd like you to just hold this position. So go ahead and lengthen through those inner legs. Point your big toes, feeling strength in your thighs. Strengthen your core by tucking your tailbone in. And really just keeping those inner legs nice and long. And go ahead and bring your arms to your side. Let your palms face up. Just relax those shoulders. Feeling strength in your thighs. And go ahead and just relax those legs, keeping the arms where they are. So In the position we were just in, our spine was in a really healthy position. It was protected with the strength in our quads and our core. So you just want to be careful of overarching in your low back and feeling a lot of space in between your back and the floor as we move into these leg lifts. So just keep that in mind. We're going to bring the arms by your side. Go ahead and just straighten your legs, forming as much of a 90-degree angle as you can. And I'd like you to just reach through your fingertips, really planting your arms as an anchor, and go ahead and lower that right leg and back up if you can. Feeling your low abdomen engaged more. Lower that left leg and keep reaching through your opposite leg. Keep reaching through towards the ceiling. Right leg, nice and slow, squeezing your core the whole time, all the way down and back up. Opposite leg, and do this about 6 more times at your own pace. Keeping the tops of your hands planted as an anchor. Feeling like the low spine is nice and supported as you engage those quads and your core, those lower ab muscles. And one more on each side, or that right leg. If your thighs are burning, you're definitely doing it right. Feel nice and strong in those quads. And back up. And go ahead and just relax those legs. Let's go ahead and take just a breath or two. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of gradually make this a little bit more challenging. So at any point you can just revisit what we did if it starts to feel like too much. All right. This is going to be a little bit different hand position. Go ahead and bring the legs overhead. If you felt like what we just did was right for you and anything more is going to be too much, go ahead and honor that and repeat what we just did. Otherwise, let's go ahead and move on. So this time our arms are by our side, and I'd like you to, with legs extended, go ahead and point through your big toes. I want you to just lift your chest so your head's just following your chest. And coming into a crunch position, I want you to really press those palms. You're going to feel your upper abdominal start to engage. Go ahead and press your palms. And I want you to just do the same thing. So lower that right leg. Keep reaching through your inner left leg and lower. And really maintain that crunch position, pressing through your palms. Let's go ahead and do about 6 more. And if you feel any straining in your neck, go ahead and just bring your head down. So if you're feeling straining in your neck, you probably need to engage your upper abdominals a little bit more by pressing your palms. Let's go ahead and do 2 more. 1 more on each side. And really reach through your big toes, keeping your inner leg nice and long. 1 more. Nice job. Go ahead and relax. Let's go ahead and just take a breath. Like I was saying, if you feel tension in your neck, you probably need to just bring a little bit more attention into your upper abs. So just pressing those palms a little bit more. You might need to build up to that kind of strength too. So it might be that just, one version at a time until you build up that strength. And we're going to go ahead and finish up our leg lifts. We're going to do 2 more versions of this. So if this feels like too much, go ahead and just pick whatever version feels right for you for today. Go ahead and lengthen through your legs. So you can pick your arm position in this. You can bring your hands by your side, or you can go ahead and palms facing up like when we started. I really like this position of the arms. And go ahead and just lower both legs at the same time. Careful of overarching in that low spine. You can bring the knees in to start, and go ahead and lower. You can bring the legs back up if you want more of a challenge. Go ahead and bring those legs up, really reaching through your big toes. So you don't want to collapse those inner legs, really reach, point your big toes. Nice and slow and controlled. If you feel any pinching in your low spine, you really need to just take a step back, re-engage those quads, those lower abdominals, and go ahead and do 2 more. And if it starts to feel like too much, you can lower, bring those knees in, and 1 more. Nice and controlled. That's really where you get the strength, is in that control and that mindfulness. Go ahead and lower. And just taking a few breaths, we'll go ahead and do 1 more. And doing our last version of these leg lifts. So go ahead and bring your hands by your side, so pressing the palms down. And go ahead and just really lengthen through those legs, engaging the quads, pointing the big toes. And go ahead and just lift your chest. So your head is just following your chest. You're not trying to yank your head up. It's going to really hurt the neck. And go ahead and lower both legs if you're ready. Lower, keep pressing those palms, and back up. And down. Let's do about 5 more. You can bring those knees in if it feels like too much. Nice and slow. Bring those knees in. Great job. You can always bring the legs down and back up. If your neck starts to hurt, you can just drop that head and continue with whatever version feels right for you. Let's do 2 more. Engaging our whole core. Great job. And let's go ahead and just take a few breaths before we move on. And we are all set to move into boat pose. Let's go ahead and turn to our side. And let's go ahead and just do a few neck rolls just to check in with our neck and make sure that there's no lingering tension after that exercise we just did. And go ahead and just take a few breaths here. Usually with neck rolls, I like to just let my shoulders follow a little bit so that it's not such a extreme stretch. And let's go ahead and get set up for boat pose. So go ahead and you want to sit on your sit bone, so the part of your butt that feels the most stable. So go ahead and you can just explore it a little bit. You can kind of move front and back, and there's this sweet spot where you just feel nice and stable. And let's go ahead and move into boat pose. And some of my favorite variations, I have really like touchy hips, so there's a few variations that I like better than the full position, but let's just work through it. So go ahead and bring your arms into boat position. So go ahead and just reach through your fingertips. You want to feel like your core is supporting your back, so it's really carrying you through this pose. If you try to straighten your spine too much, it's gonna feel like your back is doing more of the work. So a neutral position of the spine, strong core here. I want you to just lift one foot off of the ground and feeling our lower core engage a little bit more. Keep reaching through your fingertips. Go ahead and lower that right foot and left foot. Go ahead and lift. And even in this position, I'm feeling my core engage. And go ahead and lower. Let's go ahead and just take a little breather. You can just stack your arms if you want and just take a few breaths here. Okay, let's get into the full position. So this is kind of where I would urge you to just pay attention to your hips. Any tightness that you have, especially in your front hip flexor, is gonna really start to show up here. So strong core even here, and go ahead and bring your leg so it's parallel to the ceiling, your right leg. So you're gonna start to feel it in your thigh more, in that front hip flexor. And really keep it in your core as much as you can. Reaching through those fingertips. Go ahead and lower. And left leg. And breathe. Go ahead and lower. And we're actually gonna, so half position and full position. Go ahead and straighten that leg. If you feel any pain in that front hip, I want you to just take a step back. And full position, go ahead and straighten. And one more time, I'd like you to just straighten that leg if you can, really keeping it in your core. Reach through your fingertips. And opposite side, go ahead and straighten that left leg. Reaching through your fingertips. And breathe. Go ahead and lower. And let's go ahead and just take a little breath. You can just stack your hands. Take a few breaths here. Go ahead and check in with your hips. Just really breathe into those hips. And go ahead and come on up. So I actually had a hip injury when I was really young, so I do have to be really careful in this position. So just pay attention yourself to how your hips are feeling in this full position. Go ahead and bring your arms, full boat position. And just taking this one thing at a time. Go ahead and lift that right leg, left leg. Check in with your hips. Go ahead and a little bit more and a little bit more. And honestly, that hurts my right hip, so I'm gonna have to stay here. If you're in the full position, just enjoy it. Go ahead and come on down. Let's just take a breath. We're gonna do that one more time. And one more time. So even here, this is a great core strengthener without lifting the legs at all. Go ahead and lift. This is kind of my favorite stopping point because of my hips. And let's just try and hold whatever position you can for about 10 more seconds. So I want you to really squeeze that core, neutral position of the spine. Reach through those fingertips, feeling the heat build. Nice job. And let's go ahead and move right into just a gentle hip opener. Always a good idea to open up these hips after that core work. And the soles of the feet together, finding that sweet spot, our sit bones. And go ahead and just open up those shoulders and that chest. Really allowing the hips to soften. And go ahead and just walk your hands forward a little bit, breathing into those hips. And just notice if you're clenching your abdomen at all, and just let your tummy soften, let your face soften. breathing into those hips. One hip might feel a little bit tighter, which is totally normal. And just taking a few more breaths here, really giving the hips a chance to just let go. And let's come on out. And that is all for today. Thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's video, you should check out our Patreon page where you'll find some really great content. I look forward to seeing you there.
Welcome to Yoga Plus. Courses available from pupil to yogi. Sort by yoga, fitness, and instructors. Create your own routines. Access the Pose Library. Yoga Plus by Psyche Truth, available on Google Play and the App Store.
Join us for 14 and 30-day programs, hour-long classes, and much more on our yoga app, Yoga Plus by Psyche Truth. It's free to download and features a variety of wellness content, including yoga, fitness, Pilates, guided meditations, and interviews with dozens of wellness experts.